When it comes to my body, I have a lot of problems when it comes to going number 2 in the loo. Let's talk about that. Hello guys, and welcome back to another topic discussion video here on this very channel. So this topic discussion is all about my Crohn's, IBS, IBD and everything else. So if you have not got these conditions, listen up because you'll get to understand some insights in what it's like. Talking about number 2s. Poos is a taboo subject usually everywhere in conversations. No one really wants to talk about it. But I think us people who have these conditions should be advocates for other people who have these conditions who probably don't really want to talk about it. If you feel like you've got a platform to discuss and have a chat with someone or have a discussion, then please do. Share it out because this is a place that I think we should stop making it be a taboo subject and actually make it into a better subject for us in the future. Because without the support that we get from the people who are close by us, we don't get along very well. And in honesty, if we got more people involved around us and more people who understood our condition, especially when out in public, that will make more sense to do it more often. Over the past week or so, I have suffered with my Crohn's. This starts off in, basically I have 3 major sections of my Crohn's. I have a flare-up, repair stage, normal stage. Normal stage for me isn't that normal and it isn't as normal as what you would class. When I say normal, most people class themselves going to the loo probably once a day. Maybe after their morning coffee. If I was to go first thing in the morning, I can almost guarantee you I've gone 6-7 times throughout the whole entire day because the Crohn's has flared up. Now, what does it mean by flare up? What is actually happening inside? Basically, inside my body, inside my bowel is starting to expand. It's starting to have a lot more ulcers. It's starting to have a lot of polyps and everything else that happens inside your bowel and is also getting very inflamed. That inflammation causes restrictions and in severe cases can cause blockage, which is why when it comes to having a flare-up, it's becoming very dangerous and I have to watch out my symptoms in case I become blocked. If I become blocked, that is a medical emergency. I need to head to the nearest hospital within about 6 hours, otherwise I could possibly die from a bowel explosion inside. That is something that can happen. So be warned of it. If you have Crohn's, be warned about the symptoms that you are not very careful for. Now, for those people who are wondering, hang on a minute, why am I watching this video? Maybe you've got a friend who has Crohn's. Maybe you've got a family member who has got Crohn's, colitis, IBS, IBD. Any one of those things that inflame the bowel or inflame the digestive tract. And maybe you're just interested in what it's like living with Crohn's. From a first-hand perspective, as a person with a condition that is very similar to Crohn's, but it's not exactly Crohn's, my doctor wouldn't exactly put Crohn's on it, but they did say to me, it's like Crohn's, like 100% of it. Like I get the cramping, I get the bleeding, I get the frequency, I get the diarrhea, I get everything to do with it. But I also get the extra little bits on top that makes it not Crohn's, but it's very similar to Crohn's itself, which, in other words, can make it a lot more painful for me. Now, I've spoken to many different people who have got Crohn's. I've spoken to people on forums. I've even looked on Facebook and watched people's posts. People who have just given birth or who are pregnant, you have gone through that stage of childbirth and you know that pain. That pain is very strong. Unfortunately, Crohn's and IBS is very similar to that pain, if not worse, most of the time. And when that pain flares up or gets worse, you can have it for a good couple of days. It's not just the 3 to 10 hours that you're in labour for. It's for a whole really long time. So that cramping, that pain that you're getting, just think of us when you're having that. That's the pain that we're having to go through on a day-to-day basis. There's a reason why I've got tons of medication on top of my PC that I have to take every single day. Otherwise I get tons of pain or the pain gets too worse and I have to go down onto more severe painkillers. And my painkillers are quite severe. Crohn's, colitis, IBS, IBD is an invisible illness. Not every disability is visible. Try and keep that in your brain when you see someone who goes into a blue badge parking spot. Try and see that when you see someone use a disabled toilet. Try and see that when you see someone using accessible stuff or wearing, for example, the sunflower lanyard. This is my sunflower lanyard. I use it sometimes. Majority of the time I have it on, especially if I'm on a really bad flare-up. I have this on because this helps me get around and feel a bit more comfortable, and most people understand this is a lanyard that places, shops, everything possible will use to know that this person has an invisible illness or invisible disability and they need a little bit extra help. It's not just a COVID one. Unfortunately, this has been around before COVID and will be around past COVID. I still use it. It's not just a mask exemption. So the thing for me is that I had this on during COVID while still wearing a mask. It's not a mask exemption. This is just the sunflower lanyard, which basically tells the person who's wearing it has an invisible illness. But even when they're not wearing it, for example me, right this second, I'm not wearing it. I have been seen to get out of a blue badge space. I have been seen to use a disabled toilet. I have been seen to use some accessible stuff such as lifts. The reason why I use them is for simple reasons. Mobility in my body, unfortunately, isn't what it used to be. I get a lot of pain in my knees, I get a lot of pain in my joints, and it's not enjoyable at all. If anything, it's painful. I do daily dog walks every single day, but even with those, I still get a lot of pain, and I still get a lot of stuff that needs it. And when I'm on the flare-up stage in the whole stage of things, that I sometimes can't even go out. I sometimes can't even get out of bed, which is the same in recovery stage, because my recovery stage causes a lot of fatigue, which is what I've had for the last week. It's only this morning that my body's gone, I'm finally in normal stage. It's taken till now for my body to finally go into it. And it's taken 2 more weeks for this to happen. So when it comes to this whole Crohn stuff, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I wouldn't wish it even on my worst enemy or people who I no longer am friends with. I wouldn't wish it on anyone because it's not a condition that people want to have. It's not a condition that you really want to have. It's painful and it's just really sore. Now, let's talk about the pain. So when I'm out and about and I'm, for example, having the cramps, it's a lot. The cramps don't feel like someone is just like twisting your bowel. Okay, just a light twist. You get that little bit of cramping. Oh, I need to go to the loo. Unfortunately, it's not that. For me, when I'm cramping, it feels like someone is literally punching the inside of my bowel outwards all the time. And if it's not the punching, it feels like someone has literally grabbed a pair of scissors and is stabbing me. I'm twisting the knife multiple times. These are the pains that I feel during the cramping stage when the flare-up is happening. And that could happen on my left side or my right side. It could happen anywhere on my bowel. I've noticed it happens just below the rib cage, especially when I'm driving. The right side of my rib cage really hurts. And that's right at the very beginning of the large intestine, rather than at the end of the intestine, which is where they found a lot of my polyps and flare-up and the inflammation and the strictures that are inside. They found that near the very beginning, so they never really got to the very end. But I've had a lot of cramping across all of these sides. Now, some people will say this is all to do with diet. No, it isn't. I could be having quite literally grass seeds and just grass, and I would still be having this condition. I could be having the most fibre-induced food possible. I could still be having this. In fact, it probably would be worse. One thing that I've noticed for me, and this is unique for every single person, when it comes to food, I've noticed, unfortunately, fast food, which is processed food, seems to agree with my body a lot more than, for example, a full vegetable Sunday roast. I have those vegetables, I can guarantee you for the next 3 days, you won't see me, or you will see me go from my bed to the toilet, back to the bed, because the pain and the stress and the straining is painful. That's the reason why, for example, the last couple of weeks, my content hasn't been coming out. I haven't done as many blog posts as I really wanted to do this week. And why I didn't do any more topic discussions apart from the one single topic discussion that was to do with the Doctor Who episode that aired last week. This is the reason why I have not been active on streams, because when I have these flare-ups, I am then in a lot of pain and I just don't feel like it. And then when the flare-up ends, we go into the repair stage. The repair stage of my body usually ends in fatigue. I found myself for the last 3-4 days literally lying in my bed, literally just behind the camera, for a good 6-7 hours in a day, followed by another 12 hours sleep during the night. Now that isn't normal. I'm sorry, but if you are sleeping that long, it's not normal. The fact that my body told me I can't do anything, I need to go to bed, I need to lie down, that is what I had to do. I had to listen to my body. And if you have any of these conditions, or maybe you've just been diagnosed with it, do yourself a favour, listen to your body, know what does flare you up and know what doesn't, and just do your best. It's painful, it's sore, and if you're with someone who has a condition such as Crohn's, IBS, IBD, or anything else, do as much as possible. Ask them, will this affect you today? Are you on a bad day? If, for example, they're on a bad day and you've got something planned, let them know. It's okay. We can cancel. We can do it again another time. Because the problem is, one day I could be absolutely superb. Today I'm superb. I'm fantastic. It's crazy. I've really enjoyed today. Whereas tomorrow I could be bent over backwards in pain again. I could be literally going on to another flare-up next week. Unfortunately, it doesn't revolve around certain times, days or weeks or years. Unfortunately, it happens a lot more often than I like to admit. The way you can support one of your friends or family members is just ask. And also, just make sure they are A-OK. Don't forget to like the video. Bye-bye.